My family and I packed up and moved to Kansas City 4 years ago, and just like most folks here, we've fallen in love with the place, but there are a couple of things that, if you knew, might make you think twice about coming here. So stick around, because in this video, I'm spilling the beans on the good, the bad, and the downright ugly sides of living in Kansas City. All right, let's dive into the number one thing on my list: cost of living. And I'm putting this number one because whenever folks reach out to my team and me about packing up and heading to Kansas City, the first question we throw back is, so what's got you eyeing Kansas City? And would you believe it, the answer's pretty much the same across the board. Most folks are on the hunt for somewhere that doesn't make their wallets cry every time they check their bank account. They're looking for that sweet spot where the cost of living isn't through the roof like where they're coming from. And let me tell you, Kansas City nails it when it comes to affordability. Our cost of living sits pretty at just 88% of the national average, and the median home price, a cool $285,000, which is a breath of fresh air compared to the sky-high figures in places like Arizona, Las Vegas, Florida, and California, where we've helped many of you relocate from. Our clients often rave about how their money stretches further here, whether it's saving a few bucks at the gas station, not breaking the bank at the grocery store, snagging a home that doesn't require winning the lottery, or just kicking back and enjoying life without counting pennies. Moving to Kansas City feels like you've hit the lifestyle jackpot, giving you the freedom to do more, have more, and live more. KC is that gym where you can actually afford to live the dream, whether you're raising a family, just kicking off your career, or waving goodbye to the 9-to-5 grind, looking to retire in style. It's why my family and I made the leap here 4 years ago when our kiddos were just toddlers, and we haven't looked back. We're getting hit up daily by folks just like you, scoping out homes in neighborhoods in what we lovingly call the Paris of the Plains. And honestly, we love it. So if you're thinking about making a move or selling up in Kansas City, don't be shy. Give us a shout, shoot us a text, send us over an email, or hit the link below to book a Zoom chat with my team. Let's make your Kansas City dream a reality. All right, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of the home prices. I know, I just finished telling you how Kansas City is like a treasure chest of affordable living. And it's true, within the heart of Kansas City, you can still snag a deal on a house that won't have you living on ramen noodles for the foreseeable future. And it's a big but, that's not quite the full picture across the entire metro. Here's the deal. Like a lot of places across the US, we're in a bit of a pickle with a shrinking pile of homes for sale in the metro. And guess what? Even with the interest rates doing the high jump to double what they were a couple of years back, the hunger for homes hasn't cooled down one bit. There's a real tug of war going on, with way more folks wanting to buy than there are homes up for grabs. This little drama has nudged home prices up by a whopping 30, 40, and sometimes even 50% in certain spots around the metro. Take a little jaunt across the state line to Johnson County, for example. This is where you'll find those glossy suburbs like Overland Park, Lenexa, and Olathe. Over there, the median home price has ballooned to $420,000, with the average sales price puffing up to $498,000. So while the metro still has pockets of affordability, that $285,000 figure that gets thrown around as the poster child for the Midwest living and affordability might not be the whole story. It's a bit like finding a great deal online only to realize the shipping costs are more than the item itself. So if you're eyeing Kansas City with dreams of a bargain home, just remember to look a little deeper. The deals are out there, but depending on where you're looking, you might need to adjust your budget expectations. But hey, that's what we're here for, to help you navigate the waters and find that perfect spot that feels like home without emptying your wallet. All right, sticking with the theme of affordability, let's chat about everyone's least favorite topic, taxes. Yeah, I said it, taxes. Not exactly the highlight of anyone's day, right? But here's a little quirk about Kansas City proper that might raise some eyebrows. We've got a 1% income tax. Now, before you start packing your bags in protest, especially if you're coming from places like Texas, where the mere mention of income tax is practically a sin, give me a minute to explain. I had some folks I helped move here from Texas last year, and their initial reaction was pretty much, you're kidding, right? But here's the deal. Even with that 1% income tax, they found themselves better off here in Kansas City. How? Well, when you stack it up against the higher cost of living and astronomical property taxes they were dealing with back in Texas, moving to Kansas City actually put them ahead of the game. Plus, they landed their dream home in a fantastic neighborhood, which is no small feat. And here's something to sweeten the pot. Those taxes we're all not so fond of, they're actually doing some good around here. That 1% goes back into making Kansas City even better, like sprucing up our roads and beefing up city services. So while no one's throwing a party every time tax season rolls around, at least in KC, you can see your dollars at work improving the community and making the city an even better place to live. So to all my future Kansas Cityans fretting over taxes, remember, it's all about the bigger picture. Moving here could still be a win for your wallet and your quality of life. While we're on the subject of city services, let's dive into that for a second, shall we? Kansas City has been on a mission, resurfacing miles of roads left, right, and center over the past 3 years. But let me tell you, we've got a pretty impressive collection of potholes. Some of these bad boys are so massive, they'll give your teeth a good rattle. So what's the city's game plan? They go around patching these craters, but then winter rolls around and, like a scene from a disaster movie, snow falls, the ground freezes, the water sneaks under the asphalt, then along comes a snowplow and bam! We're back to square one, waiting for the city to resurface that stretch of road. But credit where credit's due, our 311 service is on the ball when it comes to patching up those tooth rattlers. Now, onto a brighter note, Kansas City is finally catching up with the times in terms of trash disposal. Last year, we were all cheering as we got those fancy rolling recycling bins. And this year, it's like the Oscars out here because the debut of new trash bins is finally arrived. This is a big deal because until now, we were limited to putting 2 bags of trash out. And let me paint a picture for you. The squirrels in my neighborhood treat trash like it's their own personal buffet, tearing into bags and having the time of their lives. So these new bins are a game changer. So while we might have our hands full dodging potholes big enough to have their own zip codes, it's not all doom and gloom. With responsive city services and upgrades like our new trash and recycling bins, it's clear KC is making strides. And hey, anything that keeps the squirrels at bay and our cars in one piece is a win in my book. Switching gears to a topic that always pops up when I'm chatting with folks thinking about moving here, especially those coming from a milder climate like California. Yep, you guessed it, the extreme weather. There's this meme account on Instagram, Midwest versus Everybody, that you've got to check out if Kansas City is on your radar. And let me tell you, it nails the weather situation here with a precision that's both hilarious and slightly terrifying. They recently dropped a meme from Pawn Stars that went something like, "Can we get a nice day in April?" And the reply was, "Best I can do is 60 degrees and 80-mile-per-hour winds." Sure, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but not by much. When spring hits, it brings the winds, and with them, a pollen party that nobody asked for. But wait, there's more. We're talking severe weather that can go from 0 to 100 real quick. Just this year, part of the metro was pelted with baseball-sized hail, and while tornadoes within the city limits are a rare spectacle, the outskirts have seen their fair share of twisters. Then there's the summer humidity that'll have you swimming through the air. And let's not forget about the delightful freezing rain in the winter. So yeah, the weather extremes in KC are something else. Getting used to them, well, it's a bit like learning to dance in a hurricane. Possible, but it'll take some time and a lot of patience. All right, let's chat about another curveball for our friends from California. The great outdoors, or rather the different flavor of it you'll find in Kansas City. Now, if you're used to having the ocean in your backyard and mountains on your doorstep, you might feel a bit landlocked here. Yep, no waves to surf or peaks to conquer, which can be a bit of a bummer for the outdoor enthusiast. And then there's the wildlife, not the kind you're thinking though. We're talking about bugs, loads of them. Venturing outside means you're stepping into their domain, and they sure know how to throw a welcome party. Heading out for a hike? Great idea, but you'll want to marinate in bug spray and do a thorough tick check once you're back. But it's not all doom and gloom. One of my personal favorites is hitting the lake. Kansas City might not have an ocean, but we've got lakes aplenty across the metro. If you're into swimming, fishing, boating, or just chilling by the water, you're in for a treat. Toss some hiking and mountain biking into the mix, and you've got yourself a decent outdoor scene. So while Kansas City may not tick all the boxes for the hardcore adventurers used to the Californian landscape, it's got its own set of outdoor perks. Just remember, it's all about finding joy in what's around you, even if it means swapping surfboards for fishing rods and mountain trails for lakeside paths. And hey, embracing the local outdoor scene here might just surprise you, but let's keep it real. It's Kansas City, not California, and that's perfectly fine by us. Diving into what really sets Kansas City apart, let's talk about culture. And not just any culture, but a sports culture that is as rich and vibrant as our world-famous barbecue. Around here, people wear their city pride like a badge of honor, and don't you dare think otherwise. Sure, there was a bit of tension when Jackson County voters decided against extending a sales tax for a new stadium for the Royals and some touch-ups for Arrowhead Stadium. I've got my own 2 cents on that, but that's a story for another day. The point is, even with that hiccup, the love for our sports teams hasn't wavered one bit. It's woven into the very fabric of this city. You can't walk down the street without seeing someone sporting Chiefs, Royals, Sporting KC, or KC Current gear. Speaking of the KC Current, they just cut the ribbon on the first stadium specifically built for a women's soccer team. How cool is that? And let's not forget, Kansas City is gearing up to host 6 World Cup games in 2026. That's right, the world's eyes will be right here soaking in our Midwestern hospitality and perhaps a little bit of our barbecue. But wait, there's more. Every year, downtown Kansas City becomes the epicenter of college basketball fever as we host the Big 12 basketball tournament, which draws thousands from across the Midwest. The energy is electric, the fans are passionate, and the city comes alive in a way that you've got to see to believe. But here's the thing. You don't have to bleed the colors of every Kansas City sports team to fit in here, but brace yourself for some of the most passionate, dedicated fans you'll ever meet. Sports in Kansas City isn't just a pastime, it's a way of life. It brings us together, fuels conversations, and sparks friendships. So whether you're a die-hard sports fanatic or you just enjoy the communal vibe of game day, Kansas City sports culture is something you'll want to dive into head first. Get ready to cheer, celebrate, and maybe even commiserate with some of the most fervent fans around. Now, speaking of the sports teams, the current situation around the Royals and Chiefs stadiums at Truman Sports Complex is pretty much a sea of parking lots. And while I'll be the first to boast about our tailgating game, seriously, it's legendary, there's no denying that car culture dominates Kansas City. Public transportation? Well, let's just say it's a work in progress. Sure, we've got the streetcar extension on the way and a shiny new airport, but Kansas City is still pretty sprawled out. This means having a set of wheels is more than just a convenience, it's practically a necessity. This sprawl and reliance on cars shapes a lot about living here, including where you might want to plant your roots. Choosing the right neighborhood can mean the difference between a breezy 10-minute drive and a grueling hour-long commute. And that's exactly where my team and I come in. We're not just here to find you a house. We're here to help you navigate the ins and the outs of Kansas City's geography, ensuring you land in a spot that minimizes your time on the road and maximizes your time enjoying everything this great city has to offer. So if you're pondering a move to KC and wondering how to dodge a traffic bullet, don't sweat it. Give us a call or shoot me a text. And if you want to know about all of the best places to live in Kansas City, then be sure to check out this next video here, and we'll see you on the next video.